Hi, lovelies. Today we're going to do a reading about voting restriction laws that have been passed in states like Iowa, Florida, Texas, Georgia, and Arizona. These states have Republican-controlled legislatures, and they're making it harder for people to vote. The legislatures that pass it say that it's to ensure voter integrity. Opponents and voters' rights groups say that it's an effort to make it harder to vote for people who have lower incomes or minority groups. But it's really confusing because a lot of Republican voters are elderly or live in rural areas or use mail-in voting. So I'm really confused about the motivation here. So I want to do a 3-card spread that doles out 3 different options of where is this choice or where is this action leading. There's very little evidence of voter fraud, but if they have data that says that their voters think that there's voter fraud, then it makes it look like that they're doing something. But these laws are going to have outcomes, and so cards, can you help us today? I have no idea that why in a democracy the leaders would try to make it harder to vote if there was no evidence of fraud or malfeasance on part of the people. Data shows that the 2020 election was one of the most secure in our history. So why are we passing voter restriction laws, making it harder for people to vote, quote unquote, more secure? What's going to happen with voters? Is this going to help the GOP, hurt the GOP, help Democrats, hurt Democrats? What is going to be the outcome here? Is it going to be the intended outcome? Who knows? So we have option 1, outcome 2, outcome 3. 2 of Cups, 9 of Swords, Temperance. So these are 3 different avenues for how voting restriction laws are turning out. So the 2 of Cups, this is about unity and partnership, to become one, balance. This option here is saying that these laws will have a bipartisan effect. It'll affect just as many Republican voters as it would Democrats or independent voters. It's kind of saying it'll just have a net effect on both. It'll still disenfranchise people, and we don't support it. But that would be the outcome. That would be the partisan outcome. The 9 of Swords here. What would be the outcome of these voting restrictions here? Oh, professional. The 9 of Swords is about victimization, imprisonment. This is saying that the GOP may actually be usurped by their own belief in their victimization. So the idea here is that they believe that they're a victim or under attack. And so since the demographics are changing and maybe they don't trend so much in their favor, or the culture isn't centered on a certain demographic anymore and they take offense, that's for another day. But this perceived victimization could lead to them actually falling apart. Them saying, cancel culture is getting us, we're being silenced. These voting restrictions might actually hurt their voting prospects even more. As we've seen, they really haven't been winning the popular vote in quite some time. Fact check, fact check. Here we have Temperance. This is a card of the major arcana, so major card on life's journey. So this is the big one. This is like, ooh, it backfired. So this means if this like really destroyed the GOP, not only did they start losing all sorts of votes and races, but they also lose credibility because of this. Hopefully Gen Z is reading. Voting, there's no reason for voting restrictions. We should help people vote, right? Right? In a democracy? So, this would be a major point on life's journey. So Temperance, it'd be about how they have to cooperate. They have to have patience. That is not a time for them to be making big moves. It'd be a time for them to sit back and watch. Time to have temperance, time to chill. I think that this showed me that the politicians are really just doing this for how it looks and their numbers. That's all that they really seem seem to care about. The long term here doesn't seem to be a concern. And the cards flesh that out for me, that I'm confused because I'm trying to put meaning where there really is none. It really is just as shallow as, well, donors and bosses say to do this, the polls say to do this, let's do it. Talk to you later. Registering to vote is pretty easy in most states, and you can do it online. You can email me at politicaltarotcutie@gmail.com for help, or seek out any resources in your community. Love you. Corny.